This is John Hansen with RX Muscle. We're at the MPC Sunset Classic, and look who I found in the audience. The legendary Eddie Robinson.
Oh, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie Robinson.
That's all right.
So you're the 88 MPC USA, one of the most talked about professional bodybuilders ever, I think, right?
I was lucky. I had a good running. I did 12 years in the IFBB circuit, and
Yeah.
you know, I remember back in junior nationals back in the early '80s, competing with Sean Ray, and you know,
Niagara Falls,
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a good running. I enjoyed it. You know, sports changed a little bit today from what it was back then, but I was lucky to be in it while it was really good, and also when Weeder was around when he still in the publication. So, you know, I had a good time and a good running with it.
Yeah, the people I talk to, Eddie, who know you from back then, they just rave about how you were in the gym, like training like 600-pound front squats and 500-pound bench presses and stuff. Do you think that was the kind of training that made you such a legendary physique?
Well, first of all, before even starting bodybuilding, my true passion was powerlifting, and that's how Joe contacted me back in the day. Was, you know, I did a lot of powerlifting. I took 2 world records in the bench as a teenager, and then that's when Joe said, "Hey, you know, why don't you put on the Speedo?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know, Joe." But when it came to making some money, and you know, and noticed that, you know, the bottom line is the powerlifting did help a lot. It helped build the mass that you need to be on that Olympia stage, and what have you. So yes, the powerlifting helped out a lot, and the squatting and stuff. Yeah, you know. You know, I was known in the squat for doing the 675s, the 780 pounds, and the 400-pound lunges, and you know, so they had a 675 bench, and and I tell you, I feel it every day now.
I was going to ask you, how your body feeling now?
Well, you know, it's beat up. You know, my shoulders are killing me. You know, every morning I wake up and, you know, it reminds me of the Iron Day, the 12 years on the IFBB stage, and in the many years it took me to get to the IFBB stage.
Yeah.
But you know what? I wake up and they hurt, and I just say, "Well, did you do it again?" I'm like, "Hell yeah."
So I didn't realize Joe Weeder was such a big influence on your bodybuilding career.
Right. I was 17 years old when I met Joe. I flew out there, and I was pretty much the longest contracted athlete in IFBB, going on for about maybe 14, 15 years under Weeder contract. Wow. And I pretty much lived with Weeder out there in Woodland Hills, California, when I was out there as a teenager, and you know, competing, and you know, I worked for the publications. That's how I got so many covers, pretty much. You know, I was a Weeder boy, so you know, I had a good time, and you know, it all panned out well.
Yeah, I mean, even today, I mean, people talk about your physique like you were still one of the best, you know. I mean, regardless of how many titles you might have won or not won, I mean, I think people still regard you as one of the best physiques ever.
I appreciate that, but I tell you what, today, at my best, I don't even think I can make the top 10 in that lineup. I mean, they're of the 300 pounds, and I was like 225, but my peak to 230, you know, I'm 5'7", 5'8", you know, I'm 5'7", now was 5'8", but, you know, today I would be the small man on the block on that stage. But, you know, back then, it was a different ball game, you know. I was just lucky I was in it where the guys were the same size and the same playing field in the 220s and 230s. When I was competing with Lee Haney was 235. Monster. Now we got 300 pounds, and they're still, you know, moving up. Is there ever going to be a peak to this? I don't know. It's scary.
They talk about that all the time, Eddie. They say, you know, the 80s and 90s were the better physiques. What do you feel? Do you think those were better physiques than the physiques today?
Well, I'll tell you what. When I competed, if your gut hung over your bikini, you didn't place. Nowadays, you don't place now unless your gut hangs over your bikini. You know, enough said. I ain't going to go any further than that. Right. But, you know, it is what it is. I was lucky back in the day. You know, when I look at physiques, I had no inspiration. I had nobody I really admired. I competed against myself. But when I look at physiques and I see the Lee Labradas, and I see the Barry DeMays, and even the Bob Parrish, that was work of art. A guy can stand on stage and do this, and it was like achievable beauty. Today, it's hard to see that beauty it had back in the day. And it's not the athlete's fault. It's the judging fault, because they wanted to see the freaks, the bigger the better, and it made us have to try harder, work harder, and change our physiques to go with the flow. And today, I hate to say it, it's like a circus act anymore. It's like the biggest, freakiest dude on stage, you know. Let's go see that. And that took away a lot from the sport. And it took away from my passion love, because I didn't want to play that game and be that huge, and, you know, I want to be aesthetic, look good, feel good, and to be able to, you know, put my shirt on in the morning, be able to put my socks on. You know?
What are you doing now, Eddie? You're out in Clearwater, right?
I'm training personal trainer at Anytime Fitness in Clearwater, Florida. I coach Little League Baseball. I'm involved in the football, all sports with my son, my daughter. So I'm staying busy in all aspects.
How old are they?
My daughter's 19 and my son's 12. Wow. So I was lucky to retire when I did. I was lucky to have all the good contracts with Joe enabled for me to retire and just do what I want to do now, which is I was very blessed, and I thank God I was very lucky that time.
All right. Well, Eddie Robbins, it's always great to see you out here in Florida, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. For RX Muscle.